Okay, let's dive in. So picture this. You find a man on a beach, right? Perfectly dressed, suit and tie, but there's absolutely no reason for him to be there. And zero ID.
Yeah,
So it's eerie.
it really is.
Now, add this tiny piece of paper found on him. It has just two words, Persian words, Tamam Shud.
Meaning ended or finished.
Exactly. And suddenly, what was just strange becomes this baffling mystery that, honestly, people are still trying to crack decades later. So welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into the really chilling case of the Somerton beach man.
Yeah, and what grabs you right away is that contrast, isn't it? You've got this very real scene, the body, the beach, but then this total blank slate about who he was, and then this almost theatrical note. Finished. It immediately makes you think, okay, this probably wasn't just some straightforward death. There's got to be something more going on here.
Totally. So December 1st, 1948, Somerton Beach, South Australia.
Yep.
You've got to imagine the scene. It's a warm evening. People are probably around enjoying the coast.
Oh.
And then there's this man lying there on the sand, just completely out of place in his suit. No obvious injuries, police said. No signs of a fight. Nothing really to say how he died.
And his pockets.
Empty. Well, almost empty. Except for that one single, really cryptic bit of paper. Tamam Shud. It's like he's just sort of appeared there
Yeah.
and left nothing else behind.
It's the lack of any background, any history that's so striking initially. Like he just materialized with this final kind of poetic statement.
Yeah.
So you're immediately asking, was this random? Or was this, planned? Who was this guy? And why leave that message?
That Tamam Shud note. It's such a pivotal clue, isn't it? So small. But it just sends the whole investigation spinning off in this really weird direction. Because those words, it turns out, they were torn from a specific book. The Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam.
Which isn't exactly your typical beach read.
Not at all. It's this collection of Persian poetry, and it deals with themes like fate, how fleeting life is, and, well, death.
So the clue itself is wrapped up in these quite heavy philosophical ideas. Why that book specifically?
That question.
It feels intentional. Choosing the Rubaiyat suggests maybe a certain level of, I don't know, education? Or perhaps an attempt to say something more than just, I'm finished.
Right, like pointing towards those deeper themes in the poems themselves.
Exactly. Why those particular thoughts on life and death connected to this man?
And, okay, it gets even weirder. Because finding the note on the body wasn't the end of it.
No.
No. Later, they find a copy of the Rubaiyat itself. It's in a parked car, not too far from the beach.
Ah, okay.
And guess what? There's a page torn out. The page that would have had Tamam Shud on it.
Wow. Okay, so that connects it directly.
It really does. It feels like something out of a spy novel, doesn't it? But then inside this book, they find more weird stuff. These strange markings,
Yeah.
numbers, maybe letters. Really hard to tell. Just cryptic.
Oh, right. The code.
Yeah. Suddenly you're thinking this isn't just an accident. Or even a simple suicide, maybe. The whole idea of something, clandestine, espionage. It starts to feel quite plausible.
Definitely. Finding that book with the missing page and those markings, it really shifted things, didn't it?
Huge shift.
It takes it from a mysterious death to something potentially involving, well, hidden agendas. And you have to remember the context. This was 1948. The Cold War was just kicking off.
Right. The atmosphere.
Exactly. There was this background hum of suspicion, paranoia about spies. So a mystery death with what looks like coded messages that would have plugged right into those fears.
Makes sense. People wondering what secret operations might be happening right under their noses.
Precisely.
Yeah, those markings in the Rubaiyat, I mean, they've been poured over for decades, haven't they?
Oh, absolutely. Endless speculation. Is it a code? Some sort of cipher?
Could it be a phone number? I've heard that theory. Or coordinates?
People have suggested all of that. Secret messages, locations, times. It seems like everyone saw something different.
And the fact that no one's ever cracked it, not definitively anyway, it just makes it all the more mysterious.
It really does. It forces you to wonder what secrets this man might have known. Secrets big enough, maybe, to get him killed.
Which brings us to all the theories about how he actually died.
Yeah, there's quite a spectrum.
On one hand, no obvious signs of violence. That makes you question a simple murder, but maybe not rule it out completely. Poison, perhaps. Something untraceable back then.
That's definitely been considered, especially poisons that mimic natural causes or leave few traces. Then you have the Tamam Shud note, the Rubaiyat.
Which points toward suicide, maybe? A sort of elaborate final statement?
It's possible, someone overwhelmed by secrets perhaps, but then you factor in the markings, the Cold War context.
And the idea of a professional hit comes back strong. Someone silenced because they knew too much?
It's a very compelling theory in this context. The trouble is, without knowing who he was or even the exact cause of death for sure, all of these remain just, well, theories, possibilities.
It's so frustrating, isn't it? You have all these intriguing clues, but the absolute core of it, who was this man, is still a blank.
Completely blank.
They circulated descriptions, his physical features were clear enough, but fingerprints. Nothing matched any records anywhere. It's like he just didn't exist before he turned up on that beach.
Which is profoundly unsettling in itself.
Yeah. And then there are these other threads, whispers about maybe a woman involved, a secret life he might have been leading.
The nurse connection sometimes mentioned.
Right. Could it have been, I don't know, an affair gone wrong, some kind of betrayal with fatal consequences? It feels like we're just chasing shadows sometimes.
The lack of a confirmed identity really is the central puzzle piece that's missing. It creates this vacuum where all these narratives, espionage, love affairs, suicide can take hold. And the idea of a hidden life, maybe a secret relationship, those human elements make it more than just a procedural case file, don't they?
Definitely. It reminds you there was a person, a story, even if we can't see it clearly.
And the fact he couldn't be ID'd through normal means maybe suggests he wanted to obscure his identity, or moved in circles where IDs weren't standard.
But here's what's really interesting. This isn't just a cold case gathering dust.
No, there's been recent movement.
Exactly. Modern forensic tech has come into play. We're talking DNA analysis, genetic genealogy.
Which is basically using DNA to find relatives through large genealogy databases.
And incredibly, investigators have actually managed to get usable DNA. And they've apparently connected it to some distant relatives. That feels huge, doesn't it?
It's a massive step forward, absolutely. Getting a viable genetic profile after all this time is remarkable. It offers a real path towards maybe finally identifying him.
But it's not instant, right?
Oh, definitely not. Connecting to distant relatives is just the start. You then have to build out complex family trees, trace lines back potential generations. It's painstaking work.
So a potential breakthrough, but not the final answer just yet.
Precisely. The technology gives us hope. But that definitive ID, the name for the Somerton man, is still something we're waiting for. It's a really intricate puzzle they're piecing together.
So even now, 70-odd years later, with DNA and everything, we're still asking those same basic questions.
We are.
Who was he? What really led him to Somerton Beach that day? Was he caught up in some Cold War spy game? Was it personal despair? Or something else entirely that we haven't even considered?
The note, the book, the code, the lack of identity, it all just forms this enduring mystery that has resisted every attempt to solve it.
Yeah.
And I think the reason it persists, why it fascinates us so much, is that it taps into our curiosity about the unknown, our desire for answers. Even without a clear resolution, this case reminds us that there can be these hidden depth secrets just beneath the surface of ordinary life. And maybe some stories just don't have neat endings.
That's a really good point. So the big question remains, what really happened on Somerton Beach? It just keeps pulling you back in.
It does.
And that's where we turn it over to you listening. What are your theories? Do you buy the spy angle? Or does a more personal tragedy seem more likely? Let us know what you think in the comments.
Yeah, we'd genuinely like to hear your perspectives. Sometimes a fresh pair of eyes spots something everyone else has missed. Your thoughts really do add to the ongoing conversation.
Absolutely. And look, if you find these kinds of unsolved mysteries as gripping as we do, make sure you subscribe. That way you won't miss our future deep dives.
Please do.
Like the video, share it, keep the discussion going. Join us next time as we tackle another chilling true crime case that still has people guessing.